Hi, I'm here at the 2021 CMA conference, and I'm here with Head of Sustainability at Blackmore's, Sally. Tell me, Sally, there's another major title that you wear.
Well, yeah, Ravinda, I've been lucky enough to chair the CMA Modern Slavery Working Group because it's been a really important year for modern slavery for Australian businesses, because it's the first year that businesses have had to report on what the work that they're doing to assess and address the risk of modern slavery in their supply chains.
That's incredible, but surely slavery is a thing of the past, isn't it?
Well, the Global Slavery Index tells us there are more than 40 million people in the world still impacted by modern slavery. The majority of them are in the Asia Pacific region, and most of them are women and girls. And when you look at some of the types of work that are involved in complementary medicine, everything from herb picking to fisheries, some of those types of work and some of the regions where raw ingredients are being procured from are particularly vulnerable to slavery.
Absolutely. So I gather you've been working with CMA in this context. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the main work that CMA has delivered to members this year has been the development of a toolkit, which includes a questionnaire that members can use when they're talking to their suppliers about the work that's happening in their supply chains, to have the controls and the governance in place to minimise the risk of exploitation of people. Because the two things that we found were that from the perspective of suppliers, they were having to fill out multiple questionnaires for lots of different business partners, and that was incredibly time consuming. And we thought that it would be better for them to spend their time driving progress towards better, stronger, more ethical supply chains than to be generating all this paperwork. But it also helped address the fundamental problem, which is people didn't know the right questions to ask.
Absolutely.
So the starting point for us was to use the Bali process questionnaire, because that's based on 20 years of experience, and to be able to build on that to make it relevant and appropriate to our industry. And we tested it with various industry partners and did a pilot before it was agreed to and rolled out. And I think it will still evolve and change over time, because this is something that, even though slavery's been around for such a long time, the approaches that people have to understand it within a business context are really new and evolving, and I think we're all learning as we go.
It's a very challenging and confronting subject. How have people taken to what you're saying about this subject?
I think the reason it's so confronting is it's not something that we actually see every day, and that's because what modern slavery is ultimately is a crime, and crime is usually hidden, and there are people motivated to keep it hidden. And so because it's not something that we see every day when we go to work, it actually does make it something that's challenging for us to even acknowledge that it could exist, and we really don't have the tools or the resources or access to the expertise to know what to do. And I think the work that the CMA Secretariat has done, supported by the Modern Slavery Working Group, has been about making sure that we've got a really viable and well-advised first step to start to introduce members to the idea of what would be involved in assessing and addressing modern slavery risk, and that we start that dialogue in a really healthy way, because this isn't a program of work that's going to be delivered quickly. It's something that is best to be done, at the sort of pace that keeps in mind doing the right thing by people and all people in our supply chain.
If you could urge our industry to do one thing, what would it be?
Be more open and transparent in the conversations that we're having. I think that at the moment, if there are issues or areas of concern, if there's more transparency about them, then there can be more done that can agree to the way to remedy that, and the right people brought in to support us to remedy and address, some of these things, because I think the worst thing possible is people going it alone, and there's a lot of unintentional consequences that come out when people try and do the right thing and don't actually consider that we're talking about the most vulnerable people within our community that might not have the education or the agency or the resources to act for themselves, to speak up, and we need to make sure that we're keeping their interests at heart as we go into this piece of work.
a very, very important area of study and focus for us. Thank you very much. Sally Townsend from Blackmoors.
Thanks.